afraid of victimization. They are afraid of the fact that when they approach those that are supposed to deal with these issues, certain things, certain requirements are needed, yet something will be obvious. So, in as far as we have studied this, those that would want to say, want to see this, want to see your proof, they must understand that they must concentrate on clearing themselves more than looking for proof from us. But if it is Zach that is asking for us, oh, that's good, you know. If they want evidence, we will definitely give them. Perhaps we have given them something in America, no. But people whom we are accusing, we are not fools, you know what I'm saying? And the fact that we have detached ourselves from politics, it is because we have realized that the best approach, if we want to win this corruption war, is to take a non-partisan approach and to say each and every citizen has got the responsibility to fight corruption. Even when you look at what the messages that Zach is always sharing with people, they say the fight against corruption is the responsibility of each and every citizen. So therefore, we are taking charge. We are taking up our responsibility as citizens to say we have to say out this. We have to make sure that we denounce corruption. We have to make sure that we expose certain things that are not done properly, that are not good for our country, that are not good for our economy. And no one can stop that from doing that. But it's time that each and every young person, each and every Zimbabwean understands that we have to do this together. And we have to join hands in this one. I hear a lot of people, perhaps some young people and some old people, instead of looking at the people that are accused to be corrupt, they look at those that have said these people are corrupt. And you wonder why. Money has been flowing all over for the past 3 days. People are given money from journalists, from young people, very old people who are now all over social media trying to defend corrupt people. And then you wonder, where are we going as a country? So this is what we are following, Larry. It is our responsibility as Zimbabwean people, particularly as young people. We've got a future. 10, 15 years from now, where are we going to be? We need to look at those things and say, what is it that we are doing? Is this right or wrong? If it's wrong, it needs to be corrected. If it's right, then we have to support it for the good of our country. That is the approach.
So the question that I ask is that, look, off the surface, because what we saw on there were people from your political party sitting there. And while you say that this is a fight that every Zimbabwean should take, question would be, hey, isn't this a factional fight? In effect, one of the leaders of a rival political party, Fadzai Mahere, says, let constitutionally mandated anti-corruption bodies do their job. Stop using the cancer of corruption to fight your factional wars. Corruption must be taken seriously because it has crippled the nations. Stop trivializing it with these childish games. This is in response to one of your things you say to you, failing to realize that the security, educational, health, and employment are being compromised as a result of corruption, and that the youth are suffering. Maybe it's important to evaluate who's being a fool.
But Larry, I don't want to go political. I will choose to avoid that because I don't think that is going to be good. But the honest truth is, I mean, that's Fadzai for you. What else do you expect? So I don't want to go political.
That's a political statement right there already.
What I can say, I want to give it an explanation as a Zimbabwean. I will tell you that such negativity reflects and perhaps it shows us that that person does not understand why corruption must disappear. That person is looking at the voices that are shouting, the voices. Where is that voice coming from? It's coming from Tsenengamu. It's coming from Matutu. These people, they belong to ZANU-PF. She doesn't want to listen at what we are saying, but she wants to listen to our political organizations, which are not on us because we don't move around with political organizations. I think the same people, the same Fadzai Mahere, who is saying that why don't you let ZAC and other institutions carry out their mandate? It's the same person who has been saying those people are not delivering. So what is she saying? But well, we don't need to concentrate on those things. Otherwise, we will lose focus. That's what she thinks. But let's hear, perhaps and others that believe in what she's saying, show us their effort in making sure that our country becomes a better country. That's how our economy stabilizes. That we make sure that we do away with corruption in our country. We want to know their effort. Those are political statements on social platforms. But what is it exactly that person is doing? You see, there is this mentality amongst our people that everything that we say must have a political answer or response to it. That's where we take it. Otherwise, that's where we go wrong. Because I think our focus must be on our nation as Zimbabweans. We must have nationhood mentality instead of focusing on political organizations. That's all I can say about it.
So the question I'm going to ask then, coming to you, Godfrey, before we take a break, is to say, given you've created, the youth people in your party have created the scenario, why wasn't it that if it was a non-partisan, whatever the case may be, you didn't have youths from across the board, from other political parties sitting there and say, okay, look, we're going to take this head on?
Okay, firstly, before I respond to that question that you have directed to me, I would want to say, in regards to what my sister Fadza has just raised, there is nothing factional about dealing with crooks. And these crooks have been doing this since, I think, as far as I remember, I think from the time even when Mamjuru was still VP, Tagure was there, dealing with the likes of Mavaire and others when they were ministers of energy. And that was Gamatox, the Gamatox era. And after the demise of the Gamatox, they then went to bed with the G40 guys, who were then in charge. And after the fall of the G40 guys, they are now trying to say, we are being attacked because we belong to a certain faction. So from the time you have been dealing with Mamjuru to this day, which faction are you belonging to? So it's not about factions, because these people do not belong to any faction. They are not politicians. How do you say these are factional fights when we are not dealing with politicians? These are just business people who are heartless, who do not even have feelings for other people. Then in regards to the question to say, why have we not invited young people from other political parties? This thing, my brother, had to start from somewhere. A journey of 1,000 miles starts with the same step. So is it a crime that because we belong to ZANU-PF, we should not have initiated a fight against corruption? And then people would say ZANU-PF is not sincere in fighting corruption. And when guys from ZANU-PF come forward to fight corruption, then say it's a factional fight. So what is it really that is supposed to happen? But remember, before I belong to ZANU-PF, I'm a Zimbabwean citizen. So because I belong to ZANU-PF, then I mustn't look at other issues objectively. And for your own information, and like we announced yesterday, we are creating a platform which we have said the Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Citizens Task Force, open for all citizens to come and play their part. It has got nothing to do with politics. Perhaps that comment from my sister, well, she is a legal practitioner, you may not be sure. Maybe one of the agreed parties could have approached here for representation. So we don't want to go that far. Well, let's agree.
I'll be very wary of casting aspersions on people, especially if they're not here to represent themselves. So we'll say the last comment has got nothing to do with our position as ZiFM Stereo. So just going to take a quick break. When I come back, I want to read a couple of your messages on 0731 168 Also call me on 0772 168 Does what's being said in the studio make sense to you? Does it pass the smell test? Do you believe that there's an actual fight against corruption that's taking place, or is there something else that's going on? What do you feel is actually happening in as far as the fight against corruption in Zimbabwe? Do you think enough is being done? And do you actually think that this is the way to go? ZiFM Stereo, my station, your station, the hottest radio in town.
Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Alexio Kawara. What up, Zimbabwe? My name is Brian K. Hello, Zimbabwe. This is your boy, Andy Marizo.
Hey, what's up? It's Nadia Nakai.
ZiFM, the #1 station in Zimbabwe. I am to present it. Z. We are your station of choice. Z. The platform. Step up and speak up.
But it's still ZiFM Stereo, my station, your station, the hottest radio in town. On Twitter, Natasha comes out and says, we keep missing the forest for the trees. The revelations by Matutu are very serious, and it go to the heart of the current issues plaguing Zimbabwe. Unfortunately, most of us wants to focus on the messenger instead of the message. And also, we are on Facebook. I'm going to check in some of your messages just now. I'll go to facebook.com/ZiFM Stereo, where we have the conversation happening across multiple platforms. That's what we do here on ZiFM Stereo. Now, before we took the break, other than taking pot shots that people are not here, the question that must be asked fundamentally, it's a very important question to be asked, is some of the people that you have accused were on a list before months ago that you brought up, and one of them who in this was Mr. Msararo, who said in a statement today he's willing to take legal action against you, was at that point saying to me, okay, there's nothing really wrong with him. And in fact, some of your lists started taking people off the list. Is this going to be one of those situations where it's a big story right now, but next week, oh, sorry, we're taking this person off the list. Oh, sorry, we're taking this point off the list. And we're back to where we are once again, starting with Godfrey Tsenengamu, who is the ZANU-PF Youth Secretary, League Secretary for the Commissariat. Sorry about that.
Okay, fine. First, I would want to say, yes, I'm the National Secretary for Commissariat in the ZANU-PF Youth League, but I'm not here because of that position. I'm here because I'm a citizen of Zimbabwe. So I'm not speaking on behalf of the Youth League or anyone. I'm speaking as a citizen. So that has to be on record.
Let's go with that.
Okay, fine. I would want to say we don't have any challenges with anyone at instituting legal proceedings against us. That's their constitutional right. We'll deal with the matter when we get there. But I don't think we are very foolish, my brother, to a point that we go out, name people when we have not done our homework before we come out. So we are ready for any legal battles because we know that ours is justified and fine. We might be the ones who are at the forefront and leading this, but we have millions of people behind us who are aggrieved by what these guys are doing. I wanted also to point to the fact that when you asked about evidence, I'll give you this scenario, my brother Ali, that you are taking a walk, then you witness someone driving and hits someone, a hit and run scenario. You have not recorded evidence, you have not done anything. And you go to the police and say, I saw what happened. A car, this registration number is the one that is responsible. And then people will say, do you have pictorial evidence? Do you have video evidence? But because you saw that this is what happened, should you remain quiet because you do not have tangible evidence to say this is the person who did 1, 2, 3? So we are here. Everyone knows that there are people who are putting in a lot of money into the streets. And we have a case where young people who are in the streets, who are labeled money changers, are the ones who are being arrested. But those who are going to banks, withdrawing hundreds of thousands, 500,000, for example, a day, and pumping into the streets, are not being arrested. And someone comes in and say, why are you saying that? Do you have evidence and everything? Fine, we have evidence. But I don't think this is where Zimbabweans must concentrate on. People must look at why we are trying to come out and say, this is what is happening and this is what is hurting the economy.
So 0772168045 is my calling number. Let's just look at some of the messages that have come through. It says, I've never been a fan of ZANU-PF, but I think the initiative by the ZANU-PF youth is very excellent. It gives us the chance. I would join the movement. That's Tinashe and Highfield. Someone says, as a youth, I want to support those that these fellow youths are chanting party politics aside. I will date back to the time they gave the nation a list of other citizens who they believe are corrupt. Whatever happened to those people? That's the question I was going to ask next. And someone else is, let me just have a look here. Okay, someone else is talking about the movement. They need to bring a definitive end to what he refers as nonsense. Says okay, all right, says it's the same thing. Susan Cruz from Chinoy says, why has nothing happened since the last time? They have the same start happening, and have they taken the matter to the president? That's another important question. It says, have you taken to the matter to the president as the principal? Yeah, so I'll just be looking for a couple of other things, but those two questions. What happened with the list before? And have you taken the issues to the president?
Thank you, Larry, for those questions. Let me point out that the fact that our responsibility is not to arrest people and convict them. Our responsibility is to shout and say something against corruption, to expose corrupt activities happening in the country and the individuals involved. There are institutions, just like what I've said when we were starting this conversation, to say these institutions are supposed to say, why are these young people saying this? Why are they saying so and so is corrupt? They need to look into those issues instead of saying we would want to know the action that you're going to take as young people. Surely, Some of these people have been actually threatening us before, to an extent that they wanted to beat us up. So you expect me to say that I have told you that so-and-so is corrupt. Now, may I please also be given an opportunity to arrest this person, take him to court, and make sure that he or she is convicted. People must take responsibilities in the different institutions that they are run. Which institutions have been given capacity to deal with corruption cases? I think we are equally disappointed. Surely, if you were one of us, after saying all that and you don't see anything up to now, you will be disappointed. We are yet to see what is going to happen to those people. That's why we even said, okay, fine. I think we think that the political route doesn't work. Perhaps let's go out as citizens, because we have that right. We have got, that constitutional mandate, that right that protects us as citizens to say we can always say what we want. We've got the freedom of expression, and that is the reason why we said let's not follow the political route, because the political route so far hasn't produced results. We are yet to see. We are still waiting. But this route, where we say we approach issues as Zimbabwean people, perhaps that is going to work, because at the end of it, everyone else suffers in the country. Our problems, the young people, are equally the same. They are uniform. So that approach will help us to make sure that we move together. Then after dealing with corruption, after succeeding in fighting corruption, where we can go back to our organizations and do what we do. But Zimbabwe comes first before our organizations. And we are Zimbabweans first before we join any political party. That is the approach. And that way we are going to get positive results.
And the question I want to ask as a follow-up to that, like you keep saying that we're stepping out of the political route. Are you saying, Godfrey, that you no longer have faith that your political formation, which is ZANU-PF, has the capacity to deal with issues? Because, as you say, the political route isn't working.
Yeah, I think, like he rightly said, we are always picking lessons at each and every step that we are taking. The last time we did it at the ZANU-PF HQ as party youths, and the party has done what they think is the best, to constitute a commission, and we are yet to see the results. But when we took time to sit down, we said, okay, fine, can we continue politicizing the fight against corruption? Not because we don't have confidence in how the party is handling the matter, because so far they've not said they failed. So we continue to be patient to see how they are going to handle the matter. But we said, no, this is a national problem. We cannot deal with it at a party level. Let's take it out there to the citizens who are the victims, so that we come together and fight this scourge as one formidable force. Not because we don't believe in what the party is doing, but we think this issue cannot be handled at a party level, which is also why we also have institutions outside the party. You have ZAC, we have the police, we have the National Prosecuting Authority, we have the Minister of Justice, we have the judiciary, and everything. It's not, these institutions were not put into place because the party can't deal with those issues, but it is because these issues must be dealt with separately. So we are saying, whilst the party is doing its best to deal with the issues we raised last time, we are now at another stage where we think everyone must come together and say this is a national challenge affecting everyone across the political divide. And I don't think people must have a problem with that. Why should they have a problem when we say let's unite, otherwise we are going to sink as a nation?
0731168045 says, what's their motive? What's their action plan, please? So is it just going to go around telling people like there's this problem and then go back to bed?
No, definitely not. I think you might have picked something from Tsenengamu, what he's saying. We said that we need to have an anti-corruption conference. We set up a task force to fight corruption across the country as young people, together as young people, as Zimbabweans. We need to sit down and request those that are supposed to deal with corruption to come and explain to us as citizens, why is it that people are not getting arrested? Why is it that people are not getting convicted when their cases are so clear with overwhelming evidence? We need to see ZAC sitting with us. We need to see the police sitting with us. We need to see the judiciary sitting with young people. We need to see each and every institution that is responsible to fight corruption. Even Parliament, we want to sit with them and find out why is it that cases are not going through and people are not being prosecuted, so that young people understand where the problem is. This is what we're going to do, because it has to be a collective. But also we need to hear from those that are responsible for doing these things. Why is it that we're not getting results? Because we hear different narratives coming from different institutions. That institution A is the problem, A is saying B is the problem, B is saying C is the problem. We can't keep on going like that, because the moment these things take time, the more these people loot from our country. We have seen people right now bragging that I have money, I have work, there are shoes all over, they are drinking expensive alcohol. You know, Zimbabweans looking at that, knowing that this person stole from us, this person stole from our country, this person stole from our coffers. It's just not fair. So we want to come together and say, as a task force, as a unit, what is it that is wrong? Whoever doesn't want to come to talk to us and people, yes, that is the problem.
Okay, I want to take our first call of the evening. You're live with ZiFM Stereo. What's your name, contribution, where you're calling from? Go ahead, James.
Yes. My contribution is, this is the thing, guys. You can just sorry about this issue. We've seen corruption in Zimbabwe, but action apana. Tunanya kutaura zvinhu, ma-conferences, interviews, end of the day, apana. Now one, we are being secondary behind the scenes here, corruption. But Commander Gekal Jagafandwa Nechi is Sakunda. Few younger people, Sakunda got to pull out right now.
So can I ask a question? So what you're mentioning what the issue is, but what do you think needs to be done then? You're saying that there has to be an action.
Exactly. Walk the talk. But TV never every time. We just need to see people being arrested or people in jail. 2-3 years down the line, walk the talk.
Okay, thank you for your contribution. So there's a situation, like you say, is often, you know, the setting up of task forces and so forth, and then people are presented. These are the people. What will stop you or your citizen task force actually suffering the same fate? Yokuti set up one, and 3 years later, problem it can E. Godfrey.
Okay, fine. I think from what the caller said, this is exactly our worry.
No, I'm talking about you. Well, we already talked about what Zach and so forth, whatever you have with them, but your task force.
Exactly, I get you. I'm saying why we are setting up the task force, it is because of the same issue that the caller also raised, that a lot has been said and nothing has happened. And so this is one where we think we are also going to try and push those in charge to say a case has been reported to the police, it has not been investigated, and we are going to raise a red flag and say, what's happening? It has been taken to court and we don't understand what's happening. We are going to raise the red flag and say, why is someone not being prosecuted? And we are, wherever we have issues, we are going to raise these issues, whether it's ZAC, it's the police, it's the judiciary, or whoever is involved. We are going to raise these issues to say, this is what is happening, this is why so-and-so has not been convicted or arrested or investigated. So that at least we try to pressurize those who are supposed to act. Because for now, the citizens do not have a voice. We have all these commissions, fine. We have the police, we have the judiciary. But are the citizens also coming out to say out as a united front to say, these are our expectations. Why is 1, 2, 3 things not been done and someone has not been convicted? So for as long as we remain fragmented as citizens and allow ourselves to be manipulated by a few who have the money, then we're not going anywhere as a people. But also my issue is, this is what we think as the two of us and others whom we're trying to work with. If there are others who think there are better ways of fighting this thing, instead of blaming us for at least taking an initiative, why can't you come forward and say, I think let's do it this way. Let's improve by going this way. Instead of saying, no, we mustn't move because you guys are staggering. We must be running. We must be sprinting. Come forward and say, here I am the sprinter. Put me forward and I'll produce results.
Okay, let's take a quick break. Some very interesting questions coming up on Facebook, our Facebook platform. We're streaming on facebook.com/ZiFM Stereo. And our WhatsApp is 0731 168 and my calling number being 0772 168 045.
Hi, this is Shingai Shoniwa, and you are listening to ZiFM Stereo, where the biggest stars play back to back. My station, your station.
Z. We play hits like this. And this. Z. Even this. ZiFM Stereo.
Turn it up.
The platform. Step up and speak up.
Still got 17 minutes left on the show. Just get in touch with me on 0731 168 being my calling number. 0772 168 being my calling number. 0731 168 was my WhatsApp number. Let me get this. Have in the studio is Godfrey Tsenengamu, who is the he says a citizen today, but we know him as the secretary for the commissariat of ZANU-PF, and Lewis Matutu, who is also with the same party. Here on ZiFM Stereo live. What's your name, contribution, and where you're calling from? Go ahead with your contribution, Give.
We've got a challenge here. These guys are trying what they can, but they cannot solve the problem on their own. When a baby is born, he is introduced to breastfeeding milk, right? When the mother passes away, there's supposed to be a nanny who can take care of the child. But the point here is the mother is dead, the nanny is dead. Sarapawana akafa. So who is going to look after the child who is crying? There is no one. Because Zach is there, police is there, NPA is there. Look at the cases. The whole country, there is no one who has been convicted of another looting. But the report is there. Who committed the crime? We know all those people, but nothing has been happening. These guys, Matutu and Tsenengamu, they are trying because a lot of Zimbabwean youth are trying, but there's no one to listen to them. Where they will go and say, guys, what are you doing with this corruption? What are we doing with America? Don't listen to you. And these guys are trying to say, guys, let's create a platform where we can lobby the mother to listen, for the nanny to listen. For Sarapavana goes out to Manachema, Aramaka, but my waka fande mazamo avo. Toti niwe, Nanzwane na moedu. And you know what? A few people are benefiting. A few people, the whole country. Guys, if you go out of Harare, Marzevo, you'll be shocked. People are starving. And these guys are begging it out. You go to Zimek 4, you see people drinking your cars, latest cars, drinking beer, splashing money. Where are they getting that money from?
Okay, thank you very much for okay.
Guys.
Okay, I hear you. Thank you very much for your contribution. I just want to get other calls in. Thank you very much. But I support the passion in your voice on your call, and I appreciate you calling in with your contribution. So yeah, I guess this I hear the passion of the person. I think no Zimbabwean in their right mind can disagree to say, okay, something needs to be done. I'm going to get this caller in before I read an interesting question that's come from a listener. You're live on ZiFM Stereo. What's your name, contribution, and where you're calling from? Forbes.
Sorry?
Go ahead.
I like what the previous caller said in terms of this being a starting point. I think the important thing that these guys are doing is providing a platform to lobby whoever's responsible to do what they're supposed to do. So what I can suggest for them to do in terms of maybe creating their own checks and balances is they can create a website where they put their stories out and whatever feedback we're getting from these institutions, why they're not doing what. So everyone will be able to track the progress of whatever. If it's a Sakunda case, then someone who you must be able to trace
what has been done via social media or the website, it will be very easy to do that. And at the same time, it will be easier for us to see the institutions that have incompetent people. Because why are we tolerating an NPA that is not executing their duties? Why are we tolerating a police force that is not that is presenting weak cases that make it so easy for expensive lawyers to win? Why are we tolerating incompetent people in key institutions in government? So I personally hate ZANU-PF, but I like this drive that they have. They've gotten the ball rolling. Can they put up a website? There are a lot of young people unemployed. I'm sure they can do it for free just to expose their skills. Can they do the website where they put their stories, what's happening with who, and we can follow up. It can be a trending thing, and we can easily link it. And some issues cannot just be forgotten, like if they were in a boring Herald paper or Chronicle paper.
Thank you for your contribution. I think it's just to be clear also to say that we have no evidence of anybody doing anything. So if whoever's been named, we have no evidence whatsoever of any impropriety on their behalf. What I do want to ask is that this is another thing. There's aspects of the website that's been talked about. You talked about a committee, what you call it, a conference, a committee that's been set up. Even some people use like the word commission quickly in about 1.5 minutes because the calls are actually coming out at a furious pace. Who is taking up the burden of that? Who's going to pay for it?
As we are doing like now, we didn't pay anything. We're just doing it as young people, as citizens of this country. We have decided to stand up and fight corruption.
But so surely a conference will cost money.
There is need for people to sacrifice when it comes to fight against corruption. Because the reason why we are poor, it is because people are stealing from us. People are stealing our resources. People are stealing from our economy. So unless we stand up and sacrifice to make sure that we fight such people, then we're not going anywhere. Because, Larry, I will tell you, people are very poor and they're suffering. I've met a lot of people when I went to my rural home during the holidays. They were cracking to think of how they're going to pay their fees, how they're going to buy their food. So while the government is working on our economy, we must not have few individuals taking the little resources that they have for themselves. We are here in town, we see people driving around and stuff, people drinking just like the other caller was saying. But go to rural areas, go outside the area, then you appreciate the reason why we're saying this must end and corruption must never be any part of our society. So indeed, people must sacrifice. There are people who are actually willing to fund these things because they understand the need to fight corruption. Those people must come forward. They must pay for services. They must support other young people to come together with us and gather. This is how it works. When people went to war, they didn't have any money, but they won the war. Why? Because there was determination. There was patriotism and sacrifice. There was support from those who did something by that time. Business people during that time, they would provide clothes, they would provide food, they would provide... This is what we're supposed to do.
Well, let's get this caller in. You're live on ZiFM Stereo. What's your name, contribution, and where you're calling from?
My name is Madure, comrade Zuluera from Harare. Aikabas. Longo izero iziyangu varume no isa chikurudziro kuvanhu Zimbabwe kuti pari zvino aitamboregera kupfeka mabhachi epolitics tambobvisa mabhachi edu aya epolitics kuti ndiri zabriti nekuti chokwadi pazvinhu zviri kuitika munyika munomu. Sanctions aside, corruption is killing us. We may try everything, whatever the president may try to do, whatever the opposition may try to come up with, but chinchiri dzora mashure inyaya yecorruption. Saka nachikumbira kudaita taona zvinotaurwa nevarume avo kavo mune chokwadi uye mune gwara mune zvinotaurwa nevarume avo dai zvaiita kuti aigona kungove mobilized kana kuripinda kana mustreet against corruption, not to say we are trying to overthrow the government, not to say we are coming up against ED, we are coming up against MDC. There is nothing like that, but just to say we are fighting corruption. So mopinda muED kana mustreet is corruption fighters. Zvisinei nekuti uri kubelonga to which political party or to whatever. Corruption is killing us. Believe you me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your contribution. So There's another thing. Would you be willing to take on such a thing to say, oh, I'm going to set aside? I know you're saying that in principle you can do that, but you're always going to be identified by your party elected positions. What do you say to that statement, Godfrey?
Yeah, we are very much willing to go all the way to make sure that we achieve what we intend to achieve as a nation. Getting rid of corruption in our society and making sure the resources that Zimbabwe has benefit all its children. Remember, Larry, we have diamond, we have gold, we have platinum, we have chrome, we have everything that you can think of. But we remain poor. We are always with a begging bowl because we have not decided to come together and say, this is what we must do. Chanting a ZANU-PF slogan to say, Pamberina Ningi, Chisa, whatever, unenge wakaguta. So politics aside, let's come together and say, tunozofeka mabhachi edu politics kana tadzokera kumapato edu. But for now, let's look at these issues as a collective. And this is what we have initiated. From yesterday, we have said, no, we are not here as politicians and also as leaders of a certain political party. We moved away from the party HQ, tried to find a neutral venue, and here we are today. And we continue to say, we are Zimbabwe's first before we belong to any political party. So this challenge goes to our fellow youths out there to say, please come and join us. It is a just cause. We have to fight this injustice where you have vanhu vanenge vachidya nzou dzavo. Ndakataura nziro Lari kuti we don't have a problem nemunhu ari kudya nzou dzake, ndedzako, fair and fine. But tinoita dambudziko kana vakutina dzimwe dzenzou dzako kuti dzigoya dzitsike mbeva dzedu shoma dzatiri kudyawo as citizens. You've got all that money, that's yours. But when you take 1% of your money and pour it in the streets, mbuya vangu vari kunyabawa kwa Mukosa kurushinga vari kunzwa the pain kutsinyiwa unenge waita muHarare just because une mari yacho. And these are issues that we think we must put a stop to. So we are inviting all Zimbabweans, progressive young people, even old people, whoever cares to listen, to say, let's come together, politics aside. I am the political commissar of a political party. You belong to whichever party that you belong to. But Zimbabwe comes first.
0772168045, that's my calling number. 07311670. Let me say that properly so you can hear it. 0731168045 being my WhatsApp number. Let's get this call in. You're live on ZiFM Stereo. Name, contribution, and where you're calling from.
All right, thank you. Hello? Hello?
Yes, what's your contribution?
Yes. So my question is, how, especially to the ZANU-PF guys, how far true is it that these things are not factional wars and you are lobbying us again as ordinary citizens to be part of this? Number two, how sincere are you guys? Because as a nation, we've set up task forces, we've set up commissions, people have been inquired, and you see that these are targeted factional issues. But then we know as a country who the real people who are crippling this country, and they're left scot-free. So how sincere are these guys? And the last one will be, guys, are you going to take us into the November coup again? And after you've done your thing, you'll be like, this was a ZANU-PF initiative, as Zimbabweans, you have no say in the running of this country.
Okay, thank you for your contribution. Just to say, from a legal position, it was said constitutionally that there was no such thing as a coup in the country, just to be clear on that, as far as the messaging is concerned. But that's the question. But are you taking us for a ride? That's what young people are asking.
Yeah, I understand and respect that person because there are so many reasons why you would be asking such questions, probably based on history or based on certain assumptions. But let me assure him and other listeners that we are very much sincere and we have taken a very big risk someone else wouldn't want to take. So that risk, that level of risk defines how sincere we are. And we're not doing this because we would want to make certain individuals happy, but we are doing this for Zimbabwean people. And our sincerity can only be measured by participation when we do this together to see how far we can go. But something that I would also want to clarify is that it is not correct to say that these are factional wars. That's why we decided that we must distance this fight against corruption to political organizations. But I will tell you that there is no such factional wars in ZANU-PF. But people whom we are accusing that they are corrupt are trying to create a certain narrative a certain scenario in their mind that if I say so and so belongs to so and so, then people will say then I'm being victimized. I saw something very interesting and if I may say so, stupid in quotes, that was circulating on social media of a group of people who have already been given a faction, me and Tsenengamu, and other Davis Mambi and Comrade Mchangwa and Kazembe, Comrade Mchinguri, and it's just ridiculous. Where is that coming from? It is because people are trying to protect their wealth that have accumulated, stealing from our economy. So I'm very sincere and we want to make sure that we deliver on this particular one. We need everyone's support. We have to work together. After all, it's not about us. We may be there now, we may not be there tomorrow, but this fight must go on. It must go on forever. Because we cannot keep on as a divided generation. That is our problem. We are a very divided generation. We have been politicized and we've brainwashed to think that we can only live with politics and nothing else. We think that we can succeed or we can do anything as long as we are in a political organization. But we can do more, even outside. We've decided to allow people to buy us so that we can push their agendas. We can protect their wealth. We can protect their interests. We've decided to allow people to use us even on social media. Look at what is happening during these days. There have been very funny videos, cartoons about us, saying a lot of things. It is because a person has been given $500, but after this issue is over, who is going to give you that money? That person is stealing from us and there's need for collective action. This is what we are crying for. This is what we are saying here. As people of Zimbabwe, we have to fight, we have to deliver, and we have to make sure that we protect our resources. We're a very rich country. We just need to be responsible. We just need to make sure that people account for what they are doing with our resources. Then we're good and fine to go.
Just to ask you as the final question for today, Godfrey, law, or justice rather, says, doesn't serve just one side. Those who are accused have a right to justice as much as those who are accused in whatever they ever say performed. Does this not put the rights of individuals who you said in a public forum without their opportunity to respond at risk?
Yeah, I think no one is being barred from responding to what we said. We held a presser and we said what we said. Whoever thinks it's not true or we did say something that is not right, they are free to respond to us and say whatever that they think they have to say. You are even free to host them. They must come forward and say, no, these guys are lying because of 1, 2, 3, 4 things. So I think as far as we are concerned, we are not worried about lawsuits. We are not worried about anything because we are convicted that we have the conviction that what we are doing is right and what we are saying is correct. Whoever disputes what we are saying, they are free to come forward. And lastly, I would want to appreciate the other caller who suggested that we host a website. And this is exactly our plan as we put together the task force to have a hotline, to have a WhatsApp platform, an SMS platform, so that we continue to update people and we continue to get issues from around Zimbabwe on how we are supposed to move and the cases that they may have reported and would want us to work on them and have a follow-up. So we are very much willing to work with anyone and we will not be asking for anyone's political party membership cards. This does not belong to a political party. This is about Zimbabwe.
And that is the voice of Godfrey Tsenengamu, who is the he keeps saying to me, no, don't refer to me, that's ZANU-PF Youth League Secretary for the Commissariat and ZANU-PF Deputy Secretary for the Youth Affairs. Lewis Matutu, thank you very much for joining me this evening. And you're always welcome at ZiFM Stereo to come and share your views in as far as national issues that are of importance to the country. I'll be back in just a bit. It's Health Matters. I'll be talking to a couple of young cancer survivors and understanding today being World Cancer Day and just understanding the issues around cancer. Stay tuned to ZiFM Stereo, my station, your station, the hottest radio in town.